All right, welcome everybody to episode 2 of the Part-Time Warlords, show talking 9th Age fantasy battles, of course. Welcome everyone joining us from Australian 9th Age page, Wargamer AU, possibly YouTube, figuring that out at the moment. I'm Christoph, once again, joined by Hugo and Alex. Say hi, guys.
Hello, hello.
Hey.
They're here. Hopefully we've sorted out a few technical issues, but I think we're
still trying.
Yeah, we're still trying. Hugo's doing push to talk. We hope that works. And he's promised he won't eat.
I don't believe that promise.
Yeah,
Yum, 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 yum.
Yeah, no, it was real eating. It was gross. Yeah, basically today, you'll probably notice by the title, but we're going to talk demons. These guys love demons. I want to get into demons, so we're going to talk demons in a 2-part episode. And before we get to that, though, Hugo, last weekend was your wargaming on the actual balcony. So do you want to update us on how it went, who survived, and whether Max got his teeth kicked in or not?
So, on the question of whether Max got his teeth kicked in, I'm going to reserve that for Alex, because I'm sure he has his own views, and they're very colourful, and we should wait for those. Events-wise, it went perfectly fine. I think one of the issues we had concern about was rain, but actually sun. Sun is definitely more of an issue. We had set up the boards with half of it in the shade and half of it wasn't. So there was some very tactful board side selection, because I believe most people did not want to play in the sun at all.
I'll take the ruins. Give me the ruins. I just don't want the sun. Yeah, fantastic.
Oh, just take the shit board. Just be in the shade. And afterwards we shifted some boards around because literally it was really hot. Like some people thought their models were going to melt. So we shuffled the board around and we managed to fit about 3 boards in the shade. So we had to move 3 boards indoors. And I think after all, it went quite successful. So just off the top of my head, Nick Howe came first with his Kingdom of Equitane. Second place was Scott Thompson.
They must have all taken Alex's advice.
I don't think anybody took his advice. That's why Nick won.
Oh boy.
And in third place, I believe it's Simon Turner with Orcs and Goblins. Is that correct, Alex?
That is correct, to my knowledge.
Oh, and fourth place was Alex. So, round of applause, people. Round of applause.
He got close. He got close. Well done.
He got close.
Alex, do you want to talk about how your day went?
Look, it was a good day. I didn't have to play outside in the sun, so that's good for me.
Was it bottom tables or top tables in the sun?
They were the middle tables were in the sun.
Oh.
So I started inside, then went outside, but it was in the shade, then came inside again. The important thing is that I beat Max in the overall standing.
Oh, okay. Not head to head.
He started to crawl out of that hole, and then I sent forth my champion, Nick, to step on his throat, and we never saw him again. Not even a whimper.
That was absolutely
brutal. Fantastic. So, a success, Hugo?
Yeah, definitely success.
What was on the menu?
On the menu was beef brisket and some assortment of sides and wraps.
Awesome.
And plenty of alcohol. Plenty. Thank you to Matt Stanley, thank you, as well as Ian. Ian, thank you for bringing Cass, Korean's #1 beer.
And let's not forget about Scotty 20-0ing actor. That's another important event.
Wow. Well.
I think you just drowned him in Veil tokens. I think that's what happened.
Well, that's what you thought would happen.
Yeah, I think that's how he got to second place.
Yep.
He's the only one that knew how to swim through Veil tokens.
And just a bit of tooting our own horn, but I've talked to Scott after the tournament, and he's definitely dropping the Ledger of Souls because there was just no way for him to spend all those tokens.
Oh, it actually did happen. Fantastic.
Yeah, basically he started on 6 and he never got off 6. He just had 6.
He didn't have, of course, his Veil Walker, did he?
He did not.
No, he did not.
Even if he did, maybe wouldn't have been able to use enough of them.
Yeah.
We'll get an update on that when we talk about Warriors a bit more down the line, I reckon.
Sounds good.
Awesome. So who knows? We'll see if we can get back to the balcony at some point, and yeah, I hope I can make it next time. It'd be awesome. I was in Canberra doing everything but wargaming, so
Yeah, we need to
It's
find
alright.
a day that's cloudy but not raining. It's a very fine balance.
all right. Fantastic. So yeah, no, let's get going onto the main event. So as we already kind of spilt the beans on, we are looking at our demons review. Now, I'm not an expert. I'm just very interested. These two guys have definitely played them a fair bit in the new iterations and the old iterations. So hopefully we'll get a fair bit of at least chatter from you guys, and we can discuss a few things. I'm going to ask some noob questions, as anyone who doesn't play demons or just plays against them every so often might want to ask. Hopefully that's helpful. And yeah, we're going to break down. This is the 2.1, I believe, Daemon Legions book, and Hugo's going to get that up for us. I'd say it's a pretty original looking book at the moment. It's still got some linkages to the old book, but we've got the 7 Deadly Sins. We've got a bunch of them minions. We're going to break down those characters, those 7 characters plus the what's his name, the Harbinger,
Oh yes.
and we've still got those 4 core units. All right, so we're going to explain some of their strengths, weaknesses, and what have you guys used? What's working? What do you think could work? And what's fun?
We're gonna try to explain.
We're gonna try to.
Give it a go.
I'm gonna
yeah.
try. Alex probably isn't gonna try. Alex is just gonna know because Alex is the best demon player.
I'm the best. That is true. And also, I just want to give a shout out to Nick here, who did gobble up the best Kingdom of Equitane player.
It's all changed. He's got it.
There you go.
That's surprising. He wasn't already.
He's not gonna be there for long.
Fantastic.
Bold words.
I'm pretty sure Jamie Payne's gonna take it back off him when some tournament results get put in.
If you hear something in the background, that's the demon I have at home. Yeah, she'll be talking for a little bit, but she's going to bed. All right. So Hugo, good to go. We're going to start off with our first unit and look at characters.
Yeah, let's start with the Harbinger because that's the first up.
All right. Now, we've skipped over manifestations and army model rules for now, but we will go back and have a chat about them. The one very interesting one that I'm finding is the Immortal Denizens, where you get +1 if you cast going to cast a spell with 1 or 2 dice. That's quite unique. And you do get +2 Veil tokens in your phase, whether you're demons or not. So, drowning in Veil tokens once again. Alex, I'm sure you'd love.
To usually cast them on that. So
yeah, lots of options. All right, so Harbinger of Chaos. Hugo, take us through who on earth is this and what's it for?
So, the Harbinger of Father Chaos is your one and only chance of getting ABSB. You essentially get to select from the manifestations of the Father Chaos, which is like the overarching branch. And based on your general, you could just pick up. I think it's three more extra manifestations from that particular sin. There's 4 mount options. I personally haven't tried all of them. I can't see anything past the Great Beast of Prophecy because I just think for 105 points it's a steal. But otherwise, if you're thinking of spamming characters, well, by spamming I mean have 4. This is probably your best choice. What do you think, Alex?
I agree with about the mounts, but I think the Burning Wheel now is in with a shot. It got cheaper in this update. The horse is interesting because that horse does give you elusive and vanguard and hard target, so it lets him be able to flee and he can vanguard up, then move 18.
Yep. So definitely, I'm seeing Darkeye play there.
Yeah, sneaky little guy. And if you want to keep him cheap, just give him the breath weapon, Withering Vapors. They all come, depending on your mount, which one you want, all about 280 to 300 points. For a pretty fast, just like little solo cowboy with a breath weapon.
I was about to say, as a mini cowboy. Yeah.
I'm not seeing it. I don't know what it's about, unless you're playing some strange list. You need Harbingers with tall. I don't rate the Dark Pulpit at all.
I think that'd just be a carryover from the old book, don't you think?
I think it
The
is the one that
palanquin.
has a couple of attacks and they're low strength.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah,
It's
it
very
gives you
odd.
6+ armor. Watch out.
oh, and then you can get the only other armor save manifestation gets you to that sweet 4-up save that is apparently the best save you can get in the book.
That is the best save you can get.
That is the best save. Yeah,
Agreed.
absolutely.
Yeah, like
So
But there are the magic options. They're all good adepts. Witchcraft, divination, thaumaturgy, evocation. They're all fine choices. And like you said before, with the +1 to cast using 1 or 2 dice, you can cast a lot of those low spells on 2 dice very easily.
so pretty cheap little multi-tool sort of character, you'd say.
Yeah. Now, as for the BSB, I've never used a BSB.
Never.
Maybe that's just me, but not for my demons anyway.
Mhm.
Just
We're probably going to see later on when we look at the special. There's lots of fast stuff, and there's just lots of stuff that doesn't really need it, right?
yeah.
And yeah,
If you're losing combat and making break tests, that's something you've done wrong with demons. I feel.
I think you'd have a lot of people agreeing with you. Just to follow up, Burning Wheel came down 30 points, so 25% came down 25%. So that's pretty cheap. And you have them flying around with hard target. I like that.
And it also has tall, so you can hide it behind your other large unit
Mm-hmm.
and still charge out from behind them.
Interesting.
Do you think some of the reasons why the Battle Standard Bearer just doesn't see many players because there is no magical standards?
No. I've once again never taken a BSB with a magical standard. I take units in my other armies to have a magic banner, but never one on a BSB. I just think you don't really you're not making any discipline tests. You're immune to most of them. All you really get to reroll are break tests and march tests. So it's kind of just and you giving up an extra 200 points if you die. Not really worth it, I don't think.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Should it be cheaper? Should there be some sort of thought given towards that? Because yeah, this doesn't seem useful at the moment.
It's the same with the undead army.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever seen a vampire BSB
Mm-hmm.
or anything like that. It's just something you really need.
Not mandatory. Anyone seeing any other builds besides the Cowboys? What else can we do with them? Hugo, anything else?
I'm pretty sure that in Melbourne, Sam Weston had a Harbinger on foot, and I think it was within a unit of Succubi just to give it a little boost. So one of the
Fantastic.
dominant.
Just a
I
little-
also had one of those in Melbourne as well. But what you can give them is then based on your general. So
So Succubi, what do you think? The hatred one, poison one.
I quite like the +1 agility one for Succubi. It makes them agility 6, 7 when they charge. It's also very cheap.
Yeah, I was about to say the agility one
It
seems like a
also
real
does
cheap
not
one.
rely on your general.
Mm-hmm.
As we go through the other characters here, I'm sure we'll talk back to what they can then let your Harbinger have to give to a unit. It's all a very big cascading effect.
Yep.
Awesome. So your Harbinger, I mean, you can have a Greed one, an Envy one, a Sloth one. You could use whatever models you want. This is fantastic. You could really go to town and make them look like whatever you want and put them in a unit and buff them up with digestive vomit. That sounds like fun. Very cool. Yeah, so anything else? I think we'll jump on to the next one.
Yeah, I think this one's one that we can't really talk about now. I think we'll have to jump back to it because there are just some other combinations we have to talk about when you decide on a certain general.
Yeah, awesome.
A
Okay,
good one
so
of which is coming up with the very next one.
All right, so let's
Okay.
move on to the Deceiver.
all right, Deceiver. So Hugo, I think you're going to muck around with this guy, aren't you?
Yep.
I was a fair fan of him. They've given him poison attacks now. He gives you an offensive skill buff. He's still only got that one attack and adds on the opponent's attacks characteristic. So that's a bit of a double-edged sword there. But I mean, the thing that sticks out for me is the Protean magic. What do you reckon?
The thing that actually sorry, besides it's just a skip from the protein magic, is this little blue
Yeah.
line at the bottom that says, at the end of each round of combat, the bearer attack value is set to 1. Now, I'm looking at this going, who the hell actually thought that you kept gaining attacks? Who possibly thought that, oh, I'm in base contact with 3 models. They have 1 attack each. Oh, so I have 4. Oh, next round of combat. Oh, 4 plus 1, 2, 3. 7. Next round, 1, 2, 3. 10.
I've got a name for you. Do you know who I'm thinking of? Aramy.
Who?
He's always looking for loopholes. He's always looking for loopholes.
Whoever they are,
pull this.
they're not the people you want to play with.
No.
No.
But like, really, did they really think? Oh, there's a dragon next to me. I'm gonna get 6 attacks, and the next round 12 attacks. Like, really?
I just want to take a moment here to also tell everyone, in case they didn't know, that all of these greater demons now receive their own dominion.
That is
That was a
true.
huge-
that
a
is
huge update.
something that I think
I'm glad that's a lot clearer too.
So now this guy is now offense 8 if he's fighting anyone that has another weapon besides their basic hand weapon.
Yes.
So that continues along for all the greater demons. They get their own dominion.
Yep.
So just a question: the hand weapons, even if it's enchanted, still a hand weapon, right?
Yes, it is an enchanted hand weapon, but yeah,
Okay.
not a
Cool.
different weapon.
Very interesting. So yeah, I mean, you've got witchcraft, thaumaturgy, evocation, divination. That's it's interesting.
They're all those first spells are all good.
Yeah, they are. Is witchcraft, is that Ravenswing?
It is Ravenswing.
Correct.
I know that's Hugo's favorite.
Yeah. Honestly, the Deceiver, especially with the price as well as 190 for Wizard Master, I think is 35 points cheaper than most Wizard Masters.
Hmm.
And the getting +2 to cast if you're using 2 dice, you could very safely get off all 4 of those spells. And honestly,
more than very safely. They are all cast on the most of 7, or
Yep.
is it 8 for an upgraded thaumaturgy one? But you're rerolling 1s for that one, so.
Yeah.
So you think
Easy
this
2 dice.
guy's going to get a lot of play?
I think so. Part of me secretly thinks that he's probably going to be the new Omen.
I think I'll agree. I've used him in one game in the past.
But
He wasn't as good then, but he is still good. The poison. Now he's the greater demon that can also let the harbinger give a unit poison attacks.
Yeah, I was
So,
going to talk about that. That's the Venom
that's-
Sax upgrade. 75 points for the unit, 25 for himself.
Yeah, so he can give himself 5+ poison,
Hmm.
and then a harbinger can give a unit poison attack, which it's just good. Having poison attacks on succubi, great. They have lots of attacks. That's what you're all about.
so
On the other hand, I think, what else have you got? You've got the piercing spike, I guess, which is against armor. You get +1 strength, +1 AP. So that got updated. It didn't really make much sense to have just +1 strength against armor when that's the whole point of it. So they get the +1 AP now, which is great.
Yep.
Yeah, so they're both all right.
like
That's
I
pretty good.
even think that you could take 2. Like, obviously, it might seem really stupid to take 2 masters because obviously, like, they've
Mhm.
only got protein magic, they can't really double up on spells. But even
Yep.
forfeiting just the 1 spell and having just double hereditary, I think it's still pretty good.
Any manifestations that you think they're like a go-to for this guy besides,
You'll,
like we said, the Venom Sacs?
you'll definitely want Iron Husk for him. Make him resilient 6.
Yeah, if you're playing
Oof.
the single one, then yeah, you definitely want Iron Husk. But Iron Husk got up to about
Wow,
85
okay.
points, I think it was. 85 points?
Yep, that's it.
So it's going to get pricey. So more of the single Wizard Master, if it's your general, then definitely.
And he's got 4 wounds, resilience, so you could get him up to 6, and then he's just got the straight up 5+ Aegis. So yeah, that's I think you're right. I think he's going to be that new Omen. We'll talk about the Omen in a moment. Now we've got a couple of fun ones. We're ready to move on.
Yeah, sure. We'll get move
I
on.
just want to mention
What?
his Dominion again. It is
Yeah.
very good for a lot of demon.
Yeah,
That
which
extra
units are you
offense.
looking at specifically?
Any of the ones that are offense 5 or more takes up to 7. So you're hitting those defense 3 humans or Saurian warriors or orcs, you hit them all on 2s then, which
Cool.
is a big boon for something you get for essentially free if you're taking one of these guys.
So decent for Succubi, maybe great for Myrmidons, right?
Yeah. Any of the there's lots of things that are offense 5. Anything that's 5 to go up to 7, that's big.
Yeah, in an army where you don't really have weapon choices, that is pretty good, isn't it?
I think it's also really funny because the +2 offense skill against anybody that doesn't have a hand weapon is funny because anyone that would have a hand weapon would get parry anyway, so your +2 doesn't do anything. So in my mind, this is a bit funny, but I guess it makes sense. And honestly, like the first spell from Divination is like +2 offense skill, and you've basically got it there for free, guaranteed. Flying light troops. Any need to mention?
I'm not sure when you'd ever take it. If you can make a lot of things fly in a demon army, take a lot of flying.
It's pretty cheap.
But his whole cost then counts towards the flying category, which can be a pretty limited category if you take that.
And that's one of the categories that I think you want to fill up to the brim these days.
Could be
35%. 35% on Aves.
I wouldn't put my 35% into a deceiver. I'd definitely be putting it into a bloat flies.
Oh, we'll talk about those next
That's
episode.
part 2.
I was jumping ahead of it.
You're a fan of the new bloat
game
flies.
with them, and they are not as good as people think they are.
Spoiler.
That's for next time.
Alright, that's for next time.
Oh,
Alright, let's
okay.
move on.
So going on now, I just want to throw this at you guys. We've got so far we've only looked at the standard characters. Now they're anything but standard. The gigantic beasts on the 150 by 100. That's the more. Yes, but then you've got the Omen. But I mean, coming at it from an other army perspective and wanting to throw some fun units on the table, looking at things like the Maw, the Miser, and later on we'll see the almighty Scourge. You want to get these fun guys out there, but what do you think? We've got the Maw. So the Maw, he eats a whole bunch of stuff. He gains a lot of wounds. Once he gets up to 18 wounds, he explodes. Yeah, it's a interesting one. He's got 6 attacks at strength 6, AP 2. At least that's better than before. He can still be a Wizard Master on Witchcraft Evo. And he gets reroll 1s to wound, I think it is.
Yep.
It is.
That's pretty decent for him.
This guy's my favorite amongst all of them.
For the flavor or for the rules?
Yeah, that doesn't
Yeah,
mean
for the flavor. Yeah,
he's my favorite by far.
I applaud the design.
I have a good model of essentially the perfect model for it, a giant worm thing that people. One day I'll paint it.
Awesome.
But he's just my favorite. He's just so cool. I know Jack Williams loves him.
Yeah.
So
is that what he was using that massive model for with all the orange?
Yeah, I've never seen him not use it.
Fantastic.
He loves it. It's great. It got. I think it's usable with this update.
Yeah, I'm just going to double check what happened to his in the update. Hugo, go for it.
I'm gonna have to agree with Alex. The Maw is my favorite. I don't know if it's actually really good, but it is my favorite just because it has 9 wounds. Like you can be ballsy with it. It is the
that's true.
Only demon in the book that can basically like safely recover health points. And like, sure, I've seen it once get to 18, but that really shouldn't have happened. I'm
almost underwhelmed by its explosion. I thought its explosion would be a bit more spectacular than toxic attacks.
I mean, all units within 9 inches. He's on that giant sideways base.
Well, that's true.
That like engulfs the whole enemy army.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
you don't want him to blow up though, because then he's
dead. You don't want him to blow up.
Well, your opponent does. Unless it's
to note,
standing next to knights.
His Dominion, I'm pretty sure changed from the last one. It's now melee instead of close combat attack.
Yes.
So that means he gets to reroll, and whoever he gives gets to reroll their stomps, impact hits, breath weapons. everything.
Ooh,
That is
wow.
correct.
And
So
he's
that
dropped
is a-
45. I think it was 45-point drop.
yeah.
Yep.
So he got
It's a big
he
boon.
got a lot better,
So
and he got cheaper.
so straight off the bat, when you look at him, you're looking at digestive vomit to get to like strength 7 AP 3
For sure.
for sure. You're also going to be looking at the third eye because you've got 9 wounds, so you're going to be taking some spell damage. And for 20 points, you can throw it back at your opponent as a bounce spell is incredible.
I think third eye now being 20 points, it's good. That is 20 points for a bounce spell, you know. That's cheaper than other people get bounce spells for, and you get whatever it is they cost.
Like for even for 35 points, I took it. And it was just all about me throwing back pyro spells at somebody.
It's a good one. Also now with his Dominion changing, I think giving him the impact hits and the breath also quite good.
Yeah, just to get the reroll ones. Why not?
The impact hits scare me a little, as well as the breath weapon. Just because you could get to 18. I mean, you don't have to
No,
use the
no.
breath weapon.
His eating is only close combat attack still.
Oh, that's a bit confusing.
Oh.
So he only gains wounds from the attacks he rolls to hit for, but he rerolls ones to wound for everything he does in combat.
That's something to keep an eye out for.
Oh, yeah, that is actually very interesting.
Yeah, he's got the best of both worlds for that one.
Can I ask you guys, with this guy, with this model, are you concerned about making him offensive or defensive?
I think he's defensive enough just by having 9 hit points.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So you're going to go all offense on all the manifestations, basically?
Yeah, the only one I'd think about getting, but you don't really need it, would be Brimstone Secretions to get rid of divine attacks against him. But he's got that fortitude to cover you when you get hit by those.
Probably parry I would look towards, because sometimes you don't want multi-wound characters beating the crap out of you.
That's a good.
Isn't there the multi-wound, or is that... No, that's not in
no, that's not
his warehouse.
No, that's the miser. We're gonna,
Okay,
that's
cool.
the next one.
Yeah.
I also think the cheap, once again, I think all of these characters can benefit from the +1 agility.
Yeah, for 15 points, I agree.
Yeah, 15 points for +1 agility. It's really good.
Okay. Yep, you're obviously a fan of +1 agility.
I am. Going first can really help you out.
15 points, super cheap. 15 points.
as
Dexterous
his- well,
tentacles.
Do you think evocation or witchcraft? Because if you're having this guy in your army, you're not having that many other characters. Probably just some harbingers. So Hugo, what do you think? Evocation or witchcraft?
I still strongly think that demons have an issue with armor, so I will always go with evocation.
Okay.
I too will go for evocation, but not for that reason. I used witchcraft for the first 3 months the book was out, and it failed me down at Vic GT. It just didn't have the impact I wanted it. So witchcraft is out and evocation's in.
Right. So, yeah, interesting to see. So you're going to use him?
Definitely.
In the one game I played, he was my. Now he died.
Yep.
Because reasons. I tried to fight a Undying Dynasty's Colossus and Shabti Archers at the same time. That wasn't a great one. I left the Colossus on 1 wound, and then he did 5 wounds back to me. So that wasn't great. But I'm still going to use him more, for sure.
That Colossus is annoying and scary until my Seeker Lord met him. Alright, so Miser. Not as big a monster. Kind of a different one. Haven't seen much of this guy yet. What's your take? He's got the armor that your AP goes down per Veil token, so Raining Veil tokens actually gives you more armor. He's a defensive skill +2, taking him up to defense 8. And the multi-wounds against him gets halved. He's got 6 wounds, so that's pretty good. But he's more expensive than the Maw
and
by a fair bit.
7.
Ooh, Res 7.
He is extremely hard to kill. This guy. If you want safe points, this
Mhm.
is the one you pick.
Nah,
And that
he's so
base size
pickable.
isn't that huge. So, Hugo, you think more's better,
Definitely.
or is it just more fun?
It's just better. Nah, it's just better.
More wounds beats res, but
Yeah,
I
so
disagree.
this
Yeah.
one, the fun thing you can do is with the storing of veil tokens. There's a manifestation for demons that allow you
yeah,
to store up to
yep,
6.
yep,
And if you store 6 tokens, you're basically always going to get a 4-up armor save.
yep. Charge tendrils, is that the one?
I believe it is, unless
Yep, that's in the main, so any character can take it.
unless there's something AP 10.
Yeah, cannons and bolt throws. Like, that's it.
Yep, they still give 0 shits.
Yep.
All right.
But
So
you're taking
this
half
guy-
wounds.
This guy does not
Mm.
have the damage output, though. Like, he can hang around for a long time, but one bad round of combat, and you will be taking wounds from combat res.
Yeah, that's true. He can get, so just looking at greed, he's got to buff that up. I guess you've got smothering coils, +1 wound against scoring. That's
That means
all
that he
right.
goes
I
against wounds for
guess
it.
it's 20 points. 10 points you can gain veil tokens from fighting, and you've got divining snout, so quite
Yeah,
quite
he's
specialized.
not a real good fighter.
Hmm.
His points are pretty much secure. He
Okay.
should not die.
So he's there to
Because
lock stuff up, I guess, isn't he?
his
Hold
Dominion
points.
also very good for some units.
All right. We'll look at that when we get to core, I guess.
There's not too much to say about this guy. He's just
Yeah.
a real tanky guy. He doesn't.
You do get div. You do get divination magic instead of well, you get one more choice
I
and the
think,
more.
for oddly enough, I think Miser, if you're planning on taking like a dedicated kind of wizard character, this is probably your best choice. Like, I know that
Hmm.
there's the
wizard is coming
the
up.
wizard one that's coming up,
not
but
correct.
I look at the miser going, if I want just like a wizard to stand around and cast spells, this is probably the one, because you can, I mean, sure, you can pick up grasping proboscis if you do want to go into combat, but just picking up all the other magic, because it's defensive enough that you don't need to put more defensive gear on him. So
No,
you're
definitely not.
free to pick up, like, you can pick up Mark of the Eternal Champion, you can pick up Sorceress Antenna, you can pick up Charged Tendrils, you can pick up Third Eye, you can pick up Grasping Proboscis, because
You can kit him out with all the
you can
utility.
get him out with all the magic stuff, because you don't need to worry about defense. So
There's also the other thing to think about. The more stuff you give him, the more expensive he gets, and the more expensive he gets, is more points you've got safe, because he shouldn't die, and he will reach like 1,100 points or so.
yeah,
You fully kit him out, because he can take more points of manifestations than the rest.
Yeah. So just with Wizard Master, he's already hit 900.
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting. Interesting to see if that ends up being a bit of a sink or if it's a bank. All right. Yeah. Anything else to say about that, dude? Talk about that
I
defensive
have
skill when
used
we
him
get
in
to
a few
core.
games, and he didn't die. He was in combat, just killing guys here and there, and not dying. That's about all he does.
I've seen him
Interesting.
used
Interesting sort of, yeah.
twice, and it's just been trouble to combat res.
That's how
It's never been pretty. It's always been just grinding down like a wound or two at a time from combat res. Because that's usually what happens. It's the 5 attack strength 5 AP2 isn't really gonna do much.
No. And with the buff to the more, with the AP2, the reroll ones, he's just going to grind out a lot. He's going to do that job for you. Interesting to see. You obviously, I haven't gone into all the numbers. We've got 40% characters. Just a quick one. Are you going to try with demons to get to 40%, or you don't really care?
I think you and I have two different opinions. I generally go light characters for my team.
Mhm.
Generally, just one big guy and one harbinger.
Mhm.
So I
Yep.
think you go
Hugo, what do you
Mallex
reckon?
to
Um,
fill it out.
uh,
So,
I'm a bit on the fence about this one. I feel like this list to list, there's no set way to build. Like you can like we said before, you can take 4 harbingers, you can take 2 big monsters. Like there's no issue. It's just what else do you fill in with your list? So
yep.
I'm not going to pick a side here.
Cool. All right.
Fence it up.
Yeah. He'll experiment. He'll get back to us. So the next one's kind of a mini. Well, it's a mini monster. The courtesan. You've been using him a fair bit, Alex. Do you want
This is
to just break him down?
Sure. This was my go-to once again for until this recent update. He's very fast. He's got that March 18. His Dominion has changed a little bit. So now he has Strider and reroll charges in the flank or rear, whereas he used to give a unit +2 March. I see why it changed though, because having him March 20 would probably be too. He gets to if he gets you in the flank, he is hitting you. Essentially, each of his attacks is a bolt thrower shot. So if you're 5 models wide and he has 6 attacks, he can get 30 hits on you. They're only strength 3, AP 2, but
AP2
that's
is good though.
That's a lot of attacks.
Yeah.
And he's in all of my games, he's never died. I should put that out there. And that's because of the way I built him, and I'd hide him behind hills if I had to. So he's defense 7. You can the way I built him was I gave him mesmerizing plumage to give him +1 offense and defense, and to take him up to defense 9, and he's distracting. So if you get into combat, almost everything's hitting you on 6s, unless if they have paired with. And he's got a hard target. I'd also give him another hard target so people could shoot at him. The only times he got hurt was from pyromancy magic, which pyromancy is rampant at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where all the damage he took was from. He's good. I think he's good. He's not great.
Okay.
What do you think, Hugo?
You've been persevering with him a little bit.
I have. Until the newest update where the Maw got better. Now I'm all about the Maw.
Okay. Yeah, because they have very similar points, aren't they? Very similar points.
Courtesan's 10 points more, but that's nothing really.
They're basically the same, aren't they?
Yeah.
Very interesting. Completely different unit. What do you reckon, Hugo?
Look, I've never tried the courtesan because I know everybody has tried the courtesan because straight off the bat, like it's AP4. You can't look past AP4. And then if you look into like stuff like roaming hands as well, which seems to be almost a dead giveaway that you're gonna pick it up. You go to strength 6 AP5, and I think that's what demons are lacking. Otherwise, I guess the rule update for Raise Essentials is definitely good because it's only at ranked file models, so you don't have to worry about dragons or monster characters. But you'll still have to worry about monsters because Alex, can you confirm? But like, I'm pretty sure monsters still count as rank and file models.
You know what? I don't know. I think they do. I think the only things that don't are characters and war platforms because they gain character. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, like I think the courtesan just all round was good. Chris, did it go up in points?
I think it came down a little bit.
Went down a bit.
Like we're talking 5, 10, 20?
15?
So,
maybe?
15, yep. So very minimal.
15. So you basically got a free +1 agility upgrade in a sense.
So it didn't get as good a buff as the other monsters, obviously.
No, but actually, yeah, it got a little bit. I'd say slightly weaker. Well, then again, Strider though is very good versus +2 March. So, and now the courtesan also always gets its reroll charges in the flank or rear.
It's gonna get off some huge charges.
Yeah.
I think obviously like this is a no-brainer for Darkhide as well because you definitely want a clear flank to just race.
That's
at.
Scout. That's that Scout one.
Yep,
Yes.
that's the scout one.
Interesting little one. So it's in contention for some time in your list, Alex, but you're thinking of more. Is that right?
Yeah, I've used the courtesan up until now. Now it goes away and something else can take its place for now.
All right.
But it's always something to think about. Always.
Okay. It's definitely another one of those unique units too that you've done some thought with the rule design. So very interesting. Distracting and hard target is pretty nice.
Yeah, its defense is not getting hit. So
Yeah.
it's only resilience 5. So
Yep.
chariots, keep away from chariots.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Keep away from. Don't get shot with magic. All right.
And one last thing
mhm.
is, and it does give a Harbinger a very good and very cheap manifestation called Hot Blood, which is a devastating charge plus 2 agility.
Oh, the agility again.
Plus 3 agility on the charge.
Yeah.
Which is, once again, going first is better than going second.
Okay. All right. We'll keep going through it. We've got the Omen coming up. This is Hugo's favorite.
I'm going to let Hugo do this one.
Hugo, it's the Omen. So if you weren't aware, at I think it was Vic GT and a few other tournaments, Hugo,
Yeah.
we did have it on the list episode last week, so people may have an idea about his triple Omen. What's changed about the Omen though, Hugo? You did talk about it a bit.
All right.
Came to pass.
So straight off the bat, it went up 100 points.
Did it get better?
No. No. So it went up 100 points.
Defense came down.
Defense came down by 1, and if it joins a unit, no other characters can join that unit. And it is probably the only like greater demon model, I guess you could say, that's probably not going to benefit from its own Dominion rule, because unless it's by itself, yeah, it's not going to get that reroll to fail discipline tests. But if you choose to make the Omen your general, you've pretty much skimping out on the BSB.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you kind of work out kind of ahead of time who you're passing your Dominion to. Otherwise, based on the pricing of this model, it seems to be that they're trying to gear people towards taking the Throne of Overwhelming Splendor.
Big points drop, but it was very expensive to begin with.
Yeah, so I think it dropped about 130
30,
points.
yep, that's correct.
So I guess if you factor in the point rise of the Omen, it's still a net gain of, I think, 45 points. Yeah.
Yep.
So 130.
The throne's definitely an interesting mount. We haven't really spoken about mounts as much yet since we spoke about the Harbinger, but the throne is a bit of a weird one. You get, when you kill a model in a duel, you get +1 combat score, and it's not going to happen too often, but you do get some impact hits.
Oh no, that's going to happen all the time with this guy.
Fly 9. Movement 9.
He also gains
Fly 9,
+1 HP and gets a 4+ Aegis the whole time for being on the throne.
So I'm gonna share a little story about the triple Omen list. Well, not really the triple Omen list, but let's just say you have 2 Omens in a unit. If you have a dragon character, you can just go straight into those Omens. You can just go straight in.
If you have a dragon.
If you have a dragon, you can just go straight in. You don't have to care, because even a Forest Henry's druid on Forest Dragon, yeah, that killed 2.
You killed both of them.
It killed both of them.
Yeah, they only have a 6+ Aegis against non-magical attacks, and they can be stomped.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, I'm going to tell people not to take the Omen.
Okay.
Ruined it
Well,
for everyone, Hugo.
that's that's a definite flip.
That if you see someone take an Omen, just put a dragon into it. The Omen is not going to kill it. Yeah, sure, it's got multi-wounds too, but it's not going to do it. It's like D6. So the maths is like D6 plus 2. So you're looking at about 5 attacks maybe, and then like you got to pretty much hit with everything because you're wounding on 4s.
You could kill it with strength 4, strength 5 stuff, just regular dudes, couldn't you?
You can also do that as well.
Kill it with regs.
You can kill it with ranks. Yeah. Look, I can just see the Omen falling from the top of the list to the bottom of the list because the prohibition of characters means you can't even stack in the Soul Harvester, Hope Harvester, sorry. And I think that was one of the big draws for many of the core units. So it
Was the war platform?
yes, because that will
Okay.
count as a character. So that configuration is going to take a big hit. So I'm not too sure how people are going to plan to use the Omen in the future. Like, other than the Chariot, I think we're just going to see a big drop in the usage of the Omen.
Okay.
But I mean, it had its high time, so now it gets its low time, I guess. So, kind of, it's fair, I guess. I'd say.
So we'll wait for another update to see if
Yeah. Oh,
they loosen it up a little bit.
and obviously the second thing that if you buy the throne, you're going straight to the 35% flying tax.
Okay.
That's not going to be popular, I think. Just
Yep.
I think there's
Very
something that can be done with the throne, but I think they were too good before. I think if you took 3 of them in a list and had them in one unit, you were a real piece of work.
I know, and that's why I got 4th place. 'Cause I'm a
And
real
but
piece of
I
work.
think there's something that can be done with the throne. I'm not sure what, but once again, it does eat into that flying tax.
Yep.
So
It's a big eat. It's
It
like
is.
690
It'll be
points
like,
straight off the
yeah,
bat, and then
800 points also,
Oh,
900.
Mhm.
and your flying tax is 35%, so you're looking at about
Yeah.
I think it's 1450. No, wait, not 1450, like
15,
15
25, I
something. So that's pretty much gobbled up half your flying tax points, a character itself. And like being a solo character, you're going to splurge on items. Like you're going to buy the 85 point.
Oh yeah,
plus one
you're gonna
toughness.
max out.
You're
for sure.
maxing out. So I mean that leaves you like. That just leaves you not with many points for the best chaff in the game later on.
Okay. Yeah, not too much else to say about the poor Omen. Now he is the poor Omen.
So poor. So poor. So lonely.
Now I haven't seen this guy around. The next one. So Sentinel. Interesting one.
I like
This
Sentinel
is
before.
this is the only one of them that I have not used.
Okay, so I will go out on a limb and say this is meant to be the penultimate magic caster for the Demon Book. Basically because of how do you pronounce it?
Strixian Spirit?
No, not Strict Spirit. The Universal Rule.
Omniscience.
Is it
It's Omniscience. Age of Empires players out there.
Yep.
Come on.
Omniscience. That just does not sound right. Anyways, so basically it's one of the slan abilities where if you can convert 2 tokens into 1 magic dice.
If you do not march or charge.
The only slight difference from obviously the difference from the slan one is you can still march and charge with the slan, but the slan doesn't let you keep any remaining veil tokens, but this one does.
Okay.
But you're also capped in the core rulebook that you're only allowed to swap 4 tokens into magic dice from the siphoning from the veil. So you're capped at 4 dice. So.
But you'll be getting that a fair bit.
Yeah, but I don't know about you, Alex, but I've, as a demon player, especially running at least 2 to 3 adepts, I've been drowning in veil tokens.
Yeah, you normally have plenty. I play against that slan quite often. That trades in 2 for 1, and it's good. Trading in 2 for 1 is great. You'll pretty much always have 4 extra dice. And I think there's a list that can be made with this Sentinel where you're making use of all those extra veil tokens for Hope Harvesters. But it's a very specific and specialized list. and it'd be a ranged heavy list, and that's not for me, not for my demons. I have Empire.
Can I ask you guys? You've got something really strange that just sticks out to me. No other army has a standard beast that's a 50 by 100 base, is there?
Not that I know of.
Standard size and being on that chariot base is a bit weird.
Yeah, so this
I mean-
one has to buy a mount. You can't not buy the mount, or you can buy the 16 spirit, which basically turns you into the big bird. I think that's what it's meant to emulate, right?
So the throne, so he's got that throne. It's basically just makes him movement 5. That's pretty much it. And
Yeah. Give a couple of attacks.
Yep.
Isn't it? Yeah, that's it.
the Strixien gives him the wings, so he's the big bird.
The Strixien Spirit might be the worst cut into the fly category of all of them. This guy's only got one attack.
It's a crushed attack.
And a crush attack, yeah. He's not there to fight.
Why do we even bother with a strength 5 AP2? It should be strength 1 AP1.
And let's not forget that he can't use his special rule if he uses that 18-inch march. So he's still only moving 6.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
is, I'm not sure about this guy.
So it's got a bit of conflicting rules.
Yeah, that one extra movement for doing that. No, not for me.
I've got a question too. You've got Dominion of Sloth, right? Which is model gains ages +1 against special attacks. Now special attacks means the close combat special attacks? Is that
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's like impact, grind, breath weapon, stomp.
breath weapon? Yep.
I think it would also apply to range special attacks though too.
Range special attacks.
I think I'm looking up in the
Breath
rulebook
weapons
now.
are the only
It's
ones I can
it's.
think of.
I think Hugo's got it right. It's anything that's in that special attacks section of the rulebook.
Like sweeping attacks is
Sweeping, yeah, sweeping. Not that that's going to happen that often. Yeah, is that even worthwhile? Is that?
That is a nothing Dominion to me.
Ugh, I'm
Like,
sure that.
If
You think
you're
that will
playing
change?
against an Undying Dynasty's chariot army, that'd be great. But when's the
Hey.
last time you saw one of
Oh,
them?
Matt!
grinds are around, but yeah.
Yeah,
Right, grinds,
tell Matt to bring out his UD army so you can
Bring it
use
back?
the special rule to get your
Yeah.
Soul 3 up
There you
ward.
go.
Yikes.
Woo!
So, other units can do his job, but just that omniscience is the only real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not even sure if I've seen. I might have.
Anyone use it yet?
Jack Williams has used one down in Canberra.
Mm-hmm.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He did. He used a Maw and a Sentinel, I believe.
Okay.
It didn't work out well for him at all.
I'm sure it looked amazing while it was dying.
It did. It did.
Yeah, I'm building a Lord of Change model at the moment, and I still would not pick this one. Just would not pick it.
He needs some tweaks. It's come down 55 points. The Dominion's come down 10 points, but he needs some tweaks. Yeah.
I think if the to fix him up, the Strixien Spirit upgrade.
Yeah.
Make him an actual like fighty guy, like the chicken used to be. Make it more point, and then he might get used.
I kind of missed that that item where you cast a spell and then roll a 5 up or whatever it was, and you get attacks and strength or
Oh, yeah.
whatever that
Either
was.
one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I kind of missed that sort of
Yeah, maybe
that sort
he
of
could have that
fluffy
too.
that
So was
fluffy
one
kind of
attack.
fun stuff. Yeah, he can start off kind of shitty, but then
Yeah, at
you
the
know
end of the
that's
game,
pretty
you
impressive.
casted and spelled 100 spells. Now he's a beast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I would look at this and think maybe not exactly Aether one, but if we're talking if Demons is all about Veil tokens, maybe he just any banked up Veil tokens you can convert to make into attacks or strength. And, I don't know.
So he's basically going to have the Hope Harvester's rule, except for close combat.
Yeah, something like that. If it's
That'd be pretty fun.
the case. But I mean, we're starting at a really low base. We're starting with one attack, and I mean, I think the Big Bird used to start with about 5 attacks.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So, I just think this thing it's got many conflicting rules,
Yep.
and just it doesn't seem to be good at anything.
So we'll put him on the shelf. Come back once he's been to the lab.
I think he's going to be on the shelf by himself.
Yeah. like if I were you, Chris, and
Yep.
I had 2 hunting chariots, this would be my most favorite target. Because it's got, if you look up, it has a sweet advance rate of, especially if it decides to take Styxian Spirit, it's got an advance rate of 2 and 4. So if it gets hit by a hunting chariot, it's 1 and 2, and you can't fly.
I think I'd be looking at the next model coming up when it comes to shooting with my hunting chariot. All right, so we'll leave him on the shelf. Let's go on to favorite of some people's. But let's hear. He does count. He's the Scourge. He is the Wrath. He's the Demon of Wrath. He does count characters and the flying category of S. But he's interesting. So you've probably seen it in the last edition. He's got the 5 attacks. He's got the Rage, Battle Focus, Distracting, on the charge, 4 up against melee. He can ignore parry. And he's got a kind of a weird kind of rule where if you upgrade him to Wizard Master for 130, you've got 3 set spells, which are all combat oriented debuffs and buffs. So what do you think about this guy?
Alex, you're up first.
I think he's the only one that Dominion got worse for him now that he gets his own Dominion.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's now defense 4, and that's it, and he can't get parry anymore. So he is going to be hit a lot more often than he used to be.
Or did he get parry before?
You could pay 25 points and buy him parry,
Okay.
the manifestation, but now he can't get it because he gets his own Dominion.
So he's come down a fair bit too. He's come down 85 points.
Yeah. I think
And the Wizard Master's come down 50 points.
I think there's a spot for him. I think he's very cheap now for a Wizard Master. It's at 835 points.
I like his spells too.
Yeah, they're all good. They're all good spells. Once again, he does eat into the flying category, but I mean, he's still pretty good.
At least he's going to kill stuff when he hits it.
Yeah, you take a couple of wounds, you get some battle focus, you're killing handfuls of models like he used to. You can give him impact hits, you can give him a breath weapon, give him hatred or not hatred. Sorry, what is it? Lightning reflexes.
Oh yeah. Sorry, the whip crack
tail. And like he's hitting pretty much everything on 2. He's wounding them on 2s. He's still a monster. He just has to make it there.
Mm-hmm.
Is the problem.
Yeah. 6 wounds, defense 4, res 6, 5 up, and then a 4 up against melee.
0.
Agility 0, yes. You can give him the upgrades, can't you?
Mandatory upgrades, so you go before great weapons.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah. Don't forget about that one.
Why? You don't want to get all those sweet attacks? Oh wait, you don't get it because it's simultaneous. Duh.
Yeah.
Oh, just like, why is it 0? This is...
Yeah, I'd be happy if it was 1, but 0. It's just attacks.
This is just silly. This is just...
You can still give him the living shield, is that right? The parry?
No,
25?
because he cannot benefit from parry.
Oh, sorry, yes, sorry. Okay.
Yeah,
I have played against him once. I think I did play against him once. Have you guys played against it?
I've played with him with one game where I took... I think Incendiary Ica on him is also pretty much so he doesn't die to pyromancy.
Yep.
But the game I played him against was against Infernal Dwarves, so I had the easiest of matchups with that.
Yep.
And he did rampage through that army. When he can't be stopped, he's still a monster.
What? How did you rampage through the army? Didn't you fight like a single Kadim and then have like the ultimate like...
I actually did fight the Kadim at the last turn, and I did 3 wounds to him because he rolled 3 1.
Yeah, he's a fun one. I want to use him, but I am gonna, like a lot of people, have to go through a lot of base changing or a base updating with a lot of these models, unfortunately.
I think this model, like, I need to see somebody use it and beat the crap out of me before I will give this model any respect whatsoever.
I
Yeah,
think
when I
that's
played it, it
fair.
wasn't that. Yeah, it wasn't that tough when I played it. I mean, it was exactly the same rules, pretty much, but just yeah, not too crush shot. If you can get one shot off with anything that has clipped wings, you've already halved its wounds. So
Yeah, that's the main problem with it. If you can plink off 3 wounds on it, you don't want to throw it into combat anymore.
and that's exactly what happened, and then it got ground out. So okay,
Yeah, like I'm looking at this and I'm like, the Deceiver will just eat this model.
the Deceiver. Oh, of course, yeah, yeah.
And like,
If it doesn't, it'll give it a lot of
oh,
give it a lot of attacks. But yeah, you're right.
I don't know. Just like the other one, like the Sentinel. Like
I think people are
someone's
still
got to use it.
sour from the
I need-
old Scourge too.
I need
Yeah.
somebody to use it well. Like I need to see it.
The old
like,
Scourge might have been a bit too good.
Okay. Yeah, he was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Um,
So just like the Sentinel, like I need somebody to use it. Like show me how good this thing is. Like I need to like die to it before I can even like look at it and be like, I'll consider you.
all right, so we're on an hour now. Coming up on an hour, so we've just finishing characters. Just really quickly, I think we've worked out a logical choice. Everyone try out them all,
Oh yeah.
Give it a go.
Give it a
and
go.
definitely keep the maybe put the Omen on the shelf for a bit. Maybe put the Sentinel's still gathering dust, still up there.
I think Courtesan is number 2. Yeah.
I think Courtesan and Miser are about equal in second place.
Yeah, I would do that.
Yep.
And then probably third.
And the
place,
Harbinger is, just there. There to fill it in or make some cowboys or whatever you like.
Yeah. Yep. That sounds
All right.
right. So we'll move on to the most important section, the other most important section of the book. After I scroll through all the mounts, is core. So
It took me ages to get to this when I first read the book because all the characters were so interesting when they first came out. They were all quite fascinating. And then we've got Core, which has had, a fair overhaul, would you say?
yeah,
Well, actually, quite a
One
big
unit
overhaul.
especially.
huh? Just the one overhaul.
No, one unit especially for the overhaul. They all
I
changed a little bit.
I honestly think that the demon core is like the most debatable topic. Like
And whether it's good or not.
yeah, like these 4
Okay.
units. I think they're quite competitive, especially the Myrmidons now. Like it is quite competitive.
Okay, so you're saying Myrmidons are decent now?
Well, from where they were, yeah, they're definitely decent now. Like they
Oh.
got so much better. And I think you could make an argument between Succubi and Myrmidons for your offensive unit.
Okay, good. That's ideal, isn't it? We'll see how it works out in the end, but you do want them to be kind of on a similar sort of level. There's still the 4 units. Obviously, is the old horrors, the Succubi being the demonettes, the Lemures being the new plague bearers, and the Myrmidons being the new, what was the old name for them?
Slaughterers?
Bloodletters.
Bloodletters. Then they
That's
turned
not back to
into
it yet.
slaughterers. Yeah, awesome. So they're going to fill in their roles. So Hugo, do you want to start off with imps?
Yeah, so Imps was when Demons first came out one of the most popular units just because Strength 5 shooting is good. And obviously straight up there's a cap on them. And when little advice, if you see a cap on something, it's probably a reason for it. Just probably a reason for it. I think they don't want you to take more than above the cap. So you could actually field quite a formidable imp gun line. And I'm pretty sure, I think we were talking about a tournament in the past, I think it was 3 weeks ago out in Brisbane.
I was going to mention that. Yeah,
Nathan Goodchild took out a list that was basically imp core. And look, you can also buy a lot of your magic through the imps. Like you could grab channel 1 You could grab the champion with the hereditary spell, as well as you could also grab the standard bearer that comes with a bound spell. So you can, if you want, instead of putting magic in characters, just put it in 3 units of 3 or 4 units of imps, and you could actually still get quite a powerful phase.
I'll just so the core was for that army you're talking about. It was 13, 12, and 12. So 3 units, 13, 12, and 12.
Mm-hmm.
They all had Hand of Heaven, and 2 of them had Sorceress Antennae for the channel.
Mm-hmm.
And all had to have standards, obviously. One had Incendiary, so that's core done and dusted. That's a lot of magic.
Mm.
A lot
Was
of
that
magic.
was that min core?
375 for each one, basically.
Yeah,
So
just
that's 750. That's what 11.
That
Does
is
that sound right? 1150.
1150. So close to
Sure.
min core.
Yeah. So yeah, close enough. Oh no, that's actually min core. It's right on min core. It's 1126 or whatever he had. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
obviously, yeah.
fantastic.
Between the 2 bound spells, definitely Hand of
Do you
Heaven
think
is the
that's
stronger one.
worthwhile though? With the other I got. Say that again.
The bad internet has
Say that
returned.
again, Hugo.
Oh, so definitely between the 2 spells for the standard bearer, Hand of Heaven is definitely the better choice because you more than likely can 1 dice Spear of Infinity. So spending 2 dice on a bound item seems a bit of a waste.
Okay.
Also, bound spell Spear of Infinities do not increase the strength of more Spear of Infinities.
But bound spell Hand of Heavens do improve
no.
Spear of Infinities? No?
No.
No?
It's non-bound spells.
Is it non-bound spells? Ah, I see.
So big change though. The Aegis, the buff. What do you make of it?
Oh, it's desperately needed.
Yes. I've used imps in probably more than half of my games. And
One unit, 2
I gotta say
units?
straight up, I think they shoot terribly.
Is that because of the AP or is it just
No, it's just
hard to hit?
they're only hitting on 4s. It's
Or
usually over
5s,
half, so they're
usually.
5s.
Yep.
Like, they're not great.
Okay.
But for 265 points, you do get 10 shots and a champion with a spear, which is it's pretty good value, really.
Yeah.
And they die so easily. I've had 1 orc boar boy kill a whole unit of them.
Now that is Aegis against shooting, so not magic. Not magic,
Yeah.
just to note.
Mm.
You still could
And
fry them
they are,
very easily with Pyro.
Defense 2, resilience 2, strength 2.
Yeah.
But they serve their purpose of being essentially the ranged unit in core, and they do it okay.
Very cheap spell.
Like
Hugo disagrees.
I've played with imps once, and like, don't even bother shooting. Like,
yeah, there's not. Yeah.
Shooting's real bad.
Like you, I just don't like. I just feel like this is a waste of points. Like again, like until I play somebody that's just gonna blow me away with him shooting. Like, I mean, there are only like certain matchups, like because I guess like demons can't take pyro, thank gosh. But I mean, some matchups maybe you're playing elves, you're playing empire, orcs, then ogres. Maybe that strength 5 AP 0 shooting will mess you up. But otherwise, like
it's not too bad to plink wounds off monsters too.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Okay.
Thinking of monsters, 10 shots, I don't know, 5s to hit usually, yeah? So what, you get 3 hits, and then you
might get 1 wound.
4s. Yeah, you might get a wound off, because most monsters have a 4-up save and a T5, like...
That's not what they're for. That's just, that's the best case for them.
Yeah, I just think imps... I think they need to be fixed up. I think even if
it's that bad,
like maybe just 2 strength 3 shots instead of a strength 5 shot, maybe that will make it more interesting. Like, I mean, I did start off the thing with, oh look, there's a 40 model cap, but have people like spending 40 of these models actually been doing well? I don't really think so.
Coming from a sort of a 20 mil army, when you've got 25 mil range units, they're taking up a big kind of bit of territory and then shooting. I'm always thinking about my dwarves where I'm taking 14 plus blokes and just getting as many shots in as possible. And they'll still be a lot cheaper than these guys.
And literally twice as resilient.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Literally twice as resilient.
No. I think more than twice. More than twice.
Okay. So, yeah, the magic support is their main thing, you'd say?
Yeah, they're a support unit.
Yeah.
That's it. They're not your main core at all.
So they got a boost with the Aegis. They came down a bit in points. The additional model actually came down from 20 to 15, so that's pretty big. But again, yeah, maybe not going to see too many additional models to those units anyway.
No.
All right, so some interesting ones. So we go into the Succubi. So Succubi pretty much stayed the same.
I like.
I guess.
These
Yeah.
these are my bread and butter cores.
Yeah.
These days. Oh, well, for the since the book's been out, and I think now, before we move on to Myrmidons, I think they're about even now.
Yeah.
Succubi and Myrmidons. But Succubi, the +1 to hit, +1 to wound against other core units, ignoring parry, they're really good. Really good.
Do you know what
That's
they
with
remind?
smothering foes, by the way.
Do you know what they remind me of? Chris,
What's
do you
that?
know what they remind me of?
What the Dark Elf models?
Yeah, Blades of Nab. There's a good.
Yeah, well, they pretty much are Blades of Nab. They're better in some ways, or most ways.
They have a save.
They have a save. 5+ saves is pretty good when you're looking at a D3 model.
They're not defensive skill too.
And AP1, AP1's nice. AP1's very nice. And ignoring parry, right? Yep.
Ignoring parry.
Awesome.
All of their manifestations have a police as well. They're all good.
Yep. So you get
Smothering Cause is my usual go-to for the +1 to wound.
Yeah.
But the others
excellent.
are all fine.
So
6 points a model. So how many are you taking?
I like to go 20. Oh, I like my units to be. So I go 23, and I usually have a Harbinger in there, giving them something.
Yep.
Usually +1 agility, because being agility 6 is real good.
Okay. Movement 5 with the Swift Stride. They're good all around, aren't they?
Yep.
Bronze Backbone. Would you take Bronze Backbone at all? Or you don't really need it?
Bronze Backbone is an interesting thing. It's good to reroll to hit.
Mm-hmm.
But then the second part of it, you never want to use. Once again, if you're losing combat with demons, something bad's happened already.
Yeah. All right.
So,
You got anything else to
once
add?
again, they already have the +1 to hit and ignore parry. I don't think they really need reroll to.
Okay.
Reroll to hit. Sorry, reroll to hit.
Yeah, I just.
Hugo, have you been using these guys at all?
Look, I have dabbled with Succubi, and I find it hard to pass up. Especially little inside baseball, but our meta is about large infantry most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our large infantry models are appearing everywhere.
Yeah.
Especially with Warriors of the Dark Gods. But then again, do you want to be sending Succubi against Warriors of the Dark God Force 1 units? I don't think so.
You're gonna get poked to death by spike shields.
Yeah, you're just gonna be jumping on shields and dying. That's basically what's gonna happen. Otherwise, I mean, I don't think there's a big ogre meta in Australia, so I can see small units of them working out well.
I was just about to bring that up. For 205 points, 10 of them is so good. So good.
I would even pay like the 10 more points for mesmerizing plumage. Why not?
Oh yeah.
Why not? Go to weapon skill, defensive skill 5. Why not? Make sure you hit everything on 2s. Yeah, like I think.
Yeah, no, it's a great little chaff clearing unit. It's an excellent little chaff
I've
clearing
also
unit.
been thinking about using them. Unit of 10 with Dark Hide too. Little cheeky unit you place down at the end.
Yeah, okay. So another thing I've looked at because of Darkhide, I've looked at them more as if I want to take the full 25 unit, I can get away
Okay,
with
you've
it.
gone the other way.
I could actually make this like as well as with like a harbinger, with maybe some gift of some sort. Probably digest the vomit, because that's what the more gets you. And yeah, make it basically into a, well, not a Death Star, but like a Star Destroyer esque. I can kind of deploy last and
Mhm.
get some mileage out of. And it's probably one of the other units that, if I ever take an Omen, it's going to go in the Succubi, because besides Darkhide, the Omen can also pick up a little cheeky 6-inch Vanguard move. So with Scout and 6-inch Vanguard, makes it a bit more threatening, I think. But that requires me to take an Omen, and that's a pretty low prospect at the moment.
I think another one of the best upgrades for them is taking, if you've got Deceiver, put a Harbinger or the Deceiver himself in there with the poison attacks.
Yeah,
Pop
that's
out
what
all-
that's what I was planning on doing. Yep.
it's fucking
75
shit.
points, Venom Sacs, he gets the 5+ poison, they get the 6+. Who knows, you could combo that with the reroll to hit? Reroll to hit with poisons,
You also
nice.
combo that with the Scourge you bring in to give them Red Haze. That's the real ticket.
And then it's starting to get expensive, yep.
And you've got a Scourge, so it's not great.
I mean, with the Deceiver, you can also look into Piercing Strike. It's also not a bad one. Gives you +1 straight, +1 AP against anyone with armor value 3 or higher. It's also not bad, because I mean, if they don't have
Not bad at all.
armor 3, your AP one's looking pretty good.
Yes.
I think it's most, yeah, AP 3, yeah.
So,
armor 3, 4-up savers.
Yep.
It's not everything, but
It's heavy armor and shield.
heavy armor and shield. What is heavy armor and shield?
Most
A lot of
dwarves.
most dwarves, yes. All warriors.
Yeah. Four Knights.
A few units here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I'm hearing from you guys is a lot of different options, which means that this unit is good. It's a very good unit. All right. So a lot of options. Can't wait to see what you guys muck around with the Succubi. Whether you're going to do the little 10-mans, the 20s, and how you use your little Harbinger in there.
Yep.
Do you want to go on to Myrmidons, or do you want to just go straight to Lemures since we?
Do you want to go to Myrmidons, because it's more of a direct
Yeah,
comparison?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I'll just go through the changes quickly. So the Myrmidons / Slaughterers / Bloodletters, they got a defensive skill buff. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
They got an agility buff.
Yes.
They can go up to 30 models.
Mm-hmm.
They got fight an extra rank.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps on coming. They've now got 1 strength 5 AP 1 attack,
Mm-hmm.
and they still gain battle focus on the charge. So quite a lot to digest there. Just thinking, does this pretty much bring them in line with what they used to be?
No. That's the
No?
thing. On the forums, I don't read them very often, but I have read
Yep.
them this. And there's a whole thread of people complaining that Myrmidons are too good now. They are still not as good as they used to be in the old books.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And people didn't complain about them then. So if you're complaining about them now, shut up.
We were waiting for it. It's emerging. The smack talk is coming
Once
back.
again, we don't really go through the forums, but look, for you guys, we did research.
Yeah, look at that.
We
So
tried-
only time will tell with that.
Yeah, time will tell.
I think I've
time
looked
will
at-
tell.
But
20
I don't know. Have you played a game yet with the new Myrmidons, Hugo?
I have not, because
I managed to sneak one in.
okay.
And I think it was a real good game for them because I got to fight against a monster, some large infantry, some normal infantry, and some character in one game.
So you played Sorens.
I played Undying Dynasty.
Damn it! All right, continue.
So I took a unit of, I think it was 27, throwing them 6 wide, not 8 wide. 8 wide units on 25mm bases. Too
Insane.
unwieldy for me. 6 wide, I took Whipcrack Tail, so they had lightning reflexes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say they did about as well as Succubi would have. Maybe a little better against the tougher thing, and a little worse against the infantry.
I'm just looking at
So-
this. Whip Crack Tail's 2 points.
Yeah,
Okay. I guess it's the one attack.
yeah.
The
So
one
they
attack
were
that, yeah.
how I was running. They were popping out 18 strength 5 attacks, hitting most things on 2s. The offense 5 plus what to hit. That's like they're good. They're a fine unit. I don't think they're too good. I don't think they're weak anymore. They're good all around now.
They're good on paper too. That's probably why people are whinging.
Yeah.
They just look good on paper.
No, I think this is a real unit.
Yeah,
I think this is a real unit. Like I
they're in
think,
the wilderness for a while.
well, yeah, because they had one of the things was agility 3.
Yeah.
But when you look at this unit as well as the costing of it, you're looking at about, even for 15 models, you're basically getting all those attacks. And that's only about 300 points. You're looking at 305 points for 15. If you really want to be a bit more all-rounder, you pick up Unhinging Jaw, and that'll get you rerolls to wound against large and gigantic, I believe.
That's correct.
So you can do a bit more things. You can fight monsters, you can fight the large infantry, as well as you can pretty much beat on infantry, because I don't think there's any like such thing as T5 infantry.
Except for the next thing we want to talk about.
Yeah,
That's true.
Awkward.
I think whether or not you're going to use Myrmidons or Succubi is going to be based on what the people around you have. If you're playing against elf infantry armies all the time, you're going to take Succubi.
So basically,
you're
what
playing
you're saying
against-
is you need to tailor,
Well, I mean, everyone does.
or in otherwise, research your meta.
Yeah. If you're playing against, orcs all the time, then Myrmidons are probably better for you. That extra strength. Whereas if you're playing against elves, those Myrmidons are going to die before they attack. But I
They
think
are still
otherwise,
soft.
they're pretty even.
All right. Myrmidon's on the up. We'll get some more play testing in.
Yeah, I it's just a little quick comment. Don't pick bronze backbone. Just don't do it. Don't be fooled. Don't see battle
That's
focus.
a trap card. That one.
That is definitely a trap. Like don't see battle focus and see rerolls to hit and go ooh, because no, you're not gonna get the charge. Because whatever goes wrong will go wrong. So don't bother with bronze backbone. Just don't bother with it. You're not gonna get any mileage out of it. If you want to hit better, just do what Alex does and buy whip crack tail. You're gonna hit
All right.
good.
You're gonna hit good. Oh goodness. So Myrmidons, Succubi competing good against two different types of units, but both good.
Yeah,
All right.
They're gonna feel like
We'll see them a lot.
Yeah, in small, medium, or large units, you're definitely going to see play in this, and I think it just really comes down to the player and what. In fact, I'd even go up far enough to say they'd probably be. I know it's weird, but they're probably going to be the last units you put into your list. Because
I agree with that.
You might have designed your list to be like, all right, I want to be able to deal with these units. And probably, depending on your special as well as your flying tax, as well your characters, what you've bought, you might look towards your Succubi and Myrmidons to cover bases that you haven't covered yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I definitely will be writing core last instead, and instead of just trying to get to min core. Like that's the logic I think I'll be applying with the Myrmidon and Succubi the comparisons, but that's just what I think. Alex, anything else to add?
It works out that a good-sized unit of Myrmidons and 2 small units of Succubi is your minimum core. So you can have it both ways a bit. It'll probably work out the other way too. 1 big Succubi, 2 small units of Myrmidons would be core.
Mm-hmm.
You can trade in those 2 small units for some imps if you want. It all works out, and then that'll bring us up to the last one, which you're the expert. Hugo, the lemurs.
You mean the
Lemures.
You mean the lamers? I see.
They were anything but. This was everyone's favorite for a while, wasn't it?
Oh,
Or could
lame.
still be.
Such a lame.
So the Lemures are the complete opposite of the Myrmidons and the Succubi, you'd say.
They are.
They
Tough
are.
as nails.
They
But
are.
I think you've got what you were just saying, Alex, comes into play where you've got a 20-man, let's say you've got at least a 20-man unit and two 10-man units. You can do that with just about any model in the core, you'd say, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's great versatility. So you guys been using Lemures. You want to take us through the Lemure, please, Hugo?
So, surprise, surprise, Lemures are like, or Lamers as I call them, are the only core unit to actually get a nerf. Because I'm pretty sure the extra additional models have gone up in price.
Yeah, I don't think by a lot though. I think it's just one or so points.
One or so
I'll double check.
points.
Yeah, just one.
Just one or so points.
Venom Sacs came down and Brimstone Secretions came down 1 point as well.
So literally, this shows that you're looking toward. They're trying to hit the bigger blocks. So those, I'm pretty sure a lot of people used to take about 20 lamers with the Hope Harvester as well as a character in a giant Death Star. I, for one, am one of them as well. No shame.
You monster.
Gotta
Should be
do what you gotta
ashamed
do,
of
right?
yourself.
I gotta do what I gotta do, right? But otherwise, especially look, as we've discussed obviously earlier, the Omen hit means that if you're gonna think about a third character, you're definitely looking at the Deceiver.
Mhm.
So I think that's what the build's gonna be for the big units. It's gonna be the Hope Harvester, Harbinger, as well as the Deceiver, because that's the only way it's gonna work out. But I think Lemures work best as actually chaff units.
With unnatural roots.
Yep, with unnatural roots, because that is a very, very strong tar pit unit. So you can just use them like an ogre dart. You just go into combat with people, and chances are it's going to be a pillar fight. You're both not going to do anything. You're going to lose combat by a standard bearer usually. Might even lose by like 2 ranks, and you'll just peel off a model.
They're a tough little dart.
They are a very
T5 or Resilience 5 parry.
Yep.
That's it. You were using them before with your omens in them, killing Yawn.
Yep.
So that was pretty cool. But you're saying new way to do it. Why not just stick to the cheap units?
Yeah, like you
Yep.
could definitely, especially if you're looking about getting charges and like needing to get charges by taking Brazen Beasts or Bloatflies or some units like those, or even the
Yep.
Chariots, where you kind of need something like an anvil to hold. The Lemur darts is definitely like a choice that you can't really go past, especially since everyone loves using core points as chaff points. I'm not gonna lie, that's
Mm-hmm.
I'm guilty.
That was one of the questions I was going to bring up. Is the core going to be used as this chaff in the Daemon Legions army?
I mean, if the moment you're taking small units, you are chaff in a sense, right, Alex?
Mhm.
Yeah. If you got a cheap 200, 220 point unit, you can afford to lose that to gain you something during a game for sure.
Yeah. So
I've only used the lemurs once in one game. I had 2 units of 12 with a Hope Harvester in each. So it just made essentially a full unit of guys on the table. They're just tough. They don't do anything. They're just there. They're hard to get rid of.
Yeah, so another little combination that I think people pick up on is obviously the Venom Sacs, and I think you can stack it also with. I think you can get double manifestation to get to the 5+ poison for Lemures if
No,
you
you
grab
can't.
it. You can't?
No, it says source other than.
Oof. Well. Yeah, then that's about it. Like
That's about it. Yeah.
That's about it. Do you really want strength 3 poison attacks? Like they're not an AP 0. Like they're not gonna do anything. Don't even bother.
They're a tough chef unit, or they're just a brick of guys that'll do you well to stand there and do nothing.
Yep.
And sometimes that's what you might need in your army is a
Yep.
brick of guys to stand there and do nothing.
Well, looking at the other 3 units in core, they do that very well. You got some really soft targets in the other the other core units.
Yeah, they're also
And even in the special, you'll see it.
they're also your cheapest way to activate Chilling Yawn, which is definitely a very strong ability. But again, like that's more towards your big units of lemurs, because otherwise, small darts with Chilling Yawn won't really do anything because they're not really benefiting anybody. Because you're not going to get multi-charges with advanced rate 4. You're not doing it.
No.
No.
That's my only other question as well, is chaff with movement 4. But the rest of the army can move quite quick, so it doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, but honestly, like the darts, you can safely just you can just throw them forwards first turn and just sit everything back. It's good enough. Once they get ahead of your units, they usually stay quite ahead, and they can soak most charges, I believe. Because even chariots will just hit them and stop. Because I mean, most chariots are strength 5, and like half of them are wounding. You're saving 1. Like.
Yep,
Think,
that's
what's
definition of a top hit.
what's a strong chariot? Chaos chariot? Chaos chariot's pretty strong, yeah.
Yeah, no, they got parry as well. It's bad news for chariots.
Yeah.
Unless they get really lucky.
Let's take it really lucky.
Better
Really
be lucky
lucky.
than good.
But on average, you hold. You're guaranteed to hold. Like, because the -2 with the natural roots to the crumble test is beautiful. Because they gotta at least beat you by 2, and that's. Really
So
good.
what? That's 230 points.
Yeah, you can
Keep it at that.
Yeah, you can even invest. Like honestly, you can invest in the standard as well. It's just adding, because standards don't give extra points anymore. Don't give away points anymore. So
Yep.
that's also something that you can pick up.
All right. So you've got 4 units. They all have stride. They do a bit of everything. Lemieux's great with the scoring, as you said, holding stuff up, chaffing stuff. Imps with the magical support. Succubi and Myrmidons are going to kind of compete with each other. Be interesting to see what.
4 units a guy, a million possibilities.
Yeah, yeah, lots of options. That's really customizable in different ways. So can't wait to see. Are you just looking forward? Are you guys going to be Hugo? You're going to be playing these guys in the future again?
I'm definitely not taking them to Wyong.
Okay.
Definitely
So that's
not
we'll
taking
talk
them.
about Wyong in a sec. Alex, you're gonna be taking them to Wyong or in the upcoming
My
in the near
demons,
future?
demons in general, for
Yeah.
sure,
Okay.
100%.
Would it be your main army at the moment? You got Empire
It
you were playing
is-
with last time.
It is for now.
Yep.
The Empire's always there, waiting
Mhm.
for when I want to shoot for a game.
And yes, leave the other phases alone. Yeah.
Well, I think he'll pick up the Empire when his Empire icon is threatened. I think that's how it's going to pan out, right?
I might do.
There's only so many events, guys. All right. So I think that clears up characters and core for part 1. Just before we finish up, though, we did mention the War in Wyong. War in Wyong coming up on April 14th, I believe it is. And we mentioned last time, Alex is running it. He's even got a Google form that you can send your list in through. I was very impressed.
Yeah. And as of today, I talked to Sean and organised everything, and should 99% sure that everyone that comes is going to get some form of goodie bag with some
Ooh.
stuff in there.
That's,
So
that's
I'm
great.
not going to tell you what it is. You want some? You got to come along.
Fantastic. So we should see the usual crew up there for War in Wyong. But yeah, see Wargame AU, see Facebook. It is on Facebook on the
Sure.
Rebel Outpost page as well. And I'm looking forward to doing a sneak peek of War in Wyong maybe next week or next week probably, or the week after. We'll do a bit of a breakdown of that as well.
Yeah,
We,
let's see the lists and see if we ever.
Yeah, we might be able to do a matchup one too if you want to do
Ooh,
it
that would be good.
after I do the matchups.
We'll dip our toes in the matchup world. I know I'm going to be terrible at it, so I'll just defer to other people.
Well, we've got Tony Keeper this time, right? Everyone's registered, yeah?
We do.
Yeah, so if you got Tony Keeper there, you can just throw out the door straight away, and then we can talk about it.
Yep.
It's fantastic. No, I can't wait for that. Yeah, we haven't done matchups yet, so that would be good. And we'll talk about the big special section in the Demons book. We'll talk about the flying and all the wacky things. Titan Slayer Chariot. I know, Hugo, I want to talk about that one. The
Really?
wacky one. Yeah, I know.
Really?
That one might be one of the only ones that's on the shelf with
Yes.
the old bird guy.
Yeah. So, lots of interesting things to talk about on the next episode. We'll maybe get that to you next week. So, anything else, guys, you want to say before we say bye?
No, thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for inviting
Yeah.
me on again.
Oh, it was great. We needed your expertise.
Yep.
I hope I get to play against your demons soon.
Unless you lose the
Maybe
icon.
we'll line it up at Wyong.
If you lose the icon, we're not getting you. We're going to get somebody else.
You can get whoever has the icon.
Yep, whoever has the
Definitely
icon.
won't be Max. We've got to get Max on at some point to counteract a lot of your smack talk.
That guy's never going to get an icon, though.
He's got the
garbage.
Warriors ones, alright? So if we quickly
Does
wrap
he?
this one up, he technically doesn't, but you know, he does.
So, in other words, he doesn't.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check with the points because Scott Thompson and Max went to the exact same tournaments, and in both tournaments, Scott Thompson did better than Max. So, logically speaking, he should be the best Warriors, but I don't know what happened.
We'll follow that up. We'll check that out. We'll find out who is actually the best Warriors player. There's not many of them, but who is actually the best one? We'll find out very soon.
But I think we should get Max anyway, right? To get some balance, some fair balance, you know, comebacks.
Let's face it, Max is a great guy. Everyone should want Max around.
Do you?
We'll get him on. We'll get him on.
Alrighties. Thank you very
It'll
much
be
for listening then.
try and get both of you. All right, yeah. Hugo said it. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Thank you, people on Facebook. Thank you for the comments. And we'll post it up, and we'll post an audio version as well, so you can listen to the car, listen wherever. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Boy.